It's the tournament that everyone wants to win, and it's back after a month layoff. It was all about new winners at the last event in India, but in Singapore, China returned with all of its shuttling superstars. This is the BWF Superseries. Welcome to our BWF Highlights show for 2011, which this week comes from the Lion City, Singapore and the Singapore Indoor Stadium. It's the 5th Super Series event of the current campaign after Malaysia, Korea, the All England and India. Unlike the Indian Open, which was a premier event, the Singapore Super Series offers a lot less prize money. But when you consider that the total sum is still close to $200,000, it just underlines how big this badminton event has become over the last few years. And of course, it's never just about the money for these tournaments, as there are also valuable world ranking points at stake, which are the only way players can book their place in the end-of-year Super Series Finals event, where they can take the title itself. In terms of the cast list, the only major absentee in Singapore was world number 1 Lee Chong-wei, who was skipping the Singapore leg in preparation for the BWF World Championships in London. This means all eyes were on Lin Dan, the 3-time world champion who had never won this title before and had the chance to overtake Chong-wei as world number 1 right here after closing up the gap in rankings points in recent months. All of that action plus the women's doubles, women's singles and mixed doubles coming your way soon, but we kick off the show with the men's doubles. As expected, the Chinese pairs took up 3 quarterfinal spots. Cai Biao, Guo Zhengdong, Cai Yun, Fu Haifeng and Hong Chen. Of them, 2 would make the last 4 after Cai Biao and Zhengdong beat the Germans of Kinderwarte Schürtler with no problems, and Cai Yun Haifeng beat their countrymen of Hong and Chen. The other 2 spots were filled by Indonesia's Chandra Gunawan and Korea's Jung and Lee. As it turned out, there would be no stopping the Chinese pairing when they faced the Koreans of Jung and Lee for a spot in the final. Cai and Fu fought hard in the first game, narrowly winning 23-21, before a far better managed second game saw them take the game and match 21-16. They would face the Indonesian pair of Chandra and Gunawan in the final, who stopped the chance of an all-Chinese final when they stopped Cai Biao and Guo Zhengdong in their tracks in a mammoth rubber set semi that saw them lose the middle game, finally coming through 21-19, 24-16, 21-14.
Hendra Afrida Gunawan, Indonesia. Chandra to serve, Sayun, level, play.
So the unseeded Indonesian pair of Alvin Yulianto Chandra and Hendra Afrida Gunawan, far side of the court up against the world champions Cai Yun and Fu Haifeng. Chinese pair, the left and right handers. There's an area of his game he's worked on and he's now very competent indeed. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's missed it. Lost his patience in the end. Hendra Afrida Gunawan. Yes, good vision. Sheer threat of Cai Yun at the net so often forces opponents into error. There's a good return of serve, and he was right on top of the net, racket arm outstretched, as if to say to his opponents, you dare hit it over, and I'm ready and waiting for you. Yeah, this good attacking play by the Indonesians. More and more adventurous as a player too. Lovely backhand kill from Gunawan. Oh, that's brilliant. But not for long. At the moment. Oh, he's overdone it. Knew as soon as he'd hit the shot, it was going to go wide. Oh my goodness! Oh, it's gone wide. Well, there was some defensive play in that rally. Oh, that's a great shot. The hold and flick from Cai Yun. Deep into the Indonesian forehand corner.
1960.
Well, I said it in the early stages, he's such a threat when he's standing at the net, Cai Yun. Forces errors from his opponents, and it happened again on that occasion. So now 4 game points to the number 4 seeds from China. Oh, great return from Alvin Yulianto. Can't save a second. This time the world champions convert. He's so fast. Yeah, that's exactly what coaches told them. The lift defence, then the drive. That's exactly what happened from Cai Yun. Finally the run comes to an end. Those 8 straight points really have.
5.
Oh, that's clever. Overdone it. Yeah. Nice take at the net from Alvin Yulianto. Cai Yun and Haifeng. Just 3 points away from regaining the title that they won in 2007. Would you believe it? Indonesians had totally outmaneuvered and outplayed in that rally the Chinese pair.
19-12.
But that 2 points from the title. Now just the one. Yeah. Surely it's too little, too late. Indeed it is, because Cai Yun and Haifeng, the reigning world champions, take their second title of the year. They win the Li-Ning Singapore Open.
From China, Cai Yun and Haifeng.
The champions, Cai Yun and Haifeng of China. Their second Singapore Open title to add to the one they won in 2007. Their second title of the year to add to the Asian Championships. And their 23rd career title in total. They have been the most phenomenal men's doubles pair. Exciting to watch, consistent, dynamic, and champions.
So, three-time world champions Cai Yun, Haifeng outclassed perennial runners-up Alvent Yulianto Chandra and Hendra Aprida Gunawan of Indonesia 21-17, 21-13 to win the men's doubles crown at the Singapore Super Series and to continue the dominance of Chinese pairs on the event after they were amongst the numerous missing players at the Indian Open which preceded this stop in the calendar. For the guys, it was a special moment indeed as they lifted their prize, as this championship was the Chinese duo's 9th BWF World Super Series crown, 23rd overall, but only their first of the season. While for the Indonesians, it was the 7th time they've reached the final and incredibly, the 7th time they've come out second best. It's a trend that they have to break out of soon, as stats like that, mentally, can only affect the performance in the bigger games. Still to come on our BWF highlight show, the women's doubles event was truly back to full strength after the Indian Open, which the Chinese pairs couldn't make. It was a battle royale as a result. All the action in just a few minutes.
We were so lucky she managed to speak to the cast of the King music.
This is the BWF Highlights Show 2011, and if you've just joined us, you're just in time for the women's doubles event, which was back up to full strength after all the Chinese pairs were forced to miss the Indian Open last time out due to a clash of scheduling with the Asian Badminton Championships. So for their fans in the Singapore Indoor Stadium, it was a case of hoping for a really good charge from all the pairs who missed out. But to the sadness of the travelling Chinese fans, only Qing and Zhao Yunlei would make the quarterfinals and then the semis, beating Japan's Maeda and Suetsana 21-8 and 21-12. Japan, though, would end up with 2 semi-final spots, as the other 2 pairs that made the quarters also made the semis, Fuji Kakiwa and Matsuo Naito. They would face Qing and Zhao Yunlei, while Fuji and Kakiwa would play the Koreans of Ha and Kim for a place in the final. Of both semi-finals, it was this one between the Koreans of Ha and Kim and the Japanese pairing of Fuji Kakiwa that had the crowd entranced. It all looked comfortable for the Korean pair, winning the first game 21-16, but it was a hard-fought affair in the second to make sure the game and match was sealed 21-18. No surprises as to who they would meet in the final, Qing and Zhao Yunlei, who breezed into Sunday with a straight games win over another Japanese pairing, that of Matsuo and Naito.
Well, no doubt the support remains for the Koreans, and more importantly, no support at all for the Chinese players. This just the second time that these 2 pairs have played against each other. The first was in the semi-final of the Asian Badminton Championships, and it was the Chinese pair that won in 3 grueling games, 1 hour and 8 minutes. Wrong choice of shot from Tian going across court and absolutely leapt on by Ha Zhongrong. There's a lift again. 3 lifts and eventually Chinese break down the defence. That's long. Gone wide. There's a very good reason why she's #1 in the world in mixed doubles. Zhao Yunlei, it's because of her speed, agility, play. Li-Ning with the 1. Umpire confirms the score, 21-13 in 18 minutes of play. Chinese combination, Tian and Zhao Yunlei, far side of the court. Of rackets. They are a relatively new pairing. Oh, that's a fabulous backhand from Tian. Going wide. Yeah, long way wide. That was a good smash. Forced that error, really. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, it's just long. Yeah, no, that's a good smash from Qing. That's short. Yeah, got what it deserved. And now on the verge of victory. Four match points than the number 5 seeds. That's gone well wide. Victory is theirs. Second consecutive title in 2 tournaments played, having won in Thailand last week. Second Super Series title to add to the Malaysian Super Series events, and the first of the OSIM BWF World Superseries tournaments of 2011. Well, they not only had to battle their opponents, they had to battle the crowd, Tian, Qing and Zhao Yunlei, but they came through with flying colours.
Chen and Zhao Yunlei.
Tian, Qing and Zhao Yunlei, champions of the Li-Ning Singapore Open 2011. Their 4th career title together, and their 2nd Super Series title.
The world's first human 3D massage chair will be presented by Mr.
One thing we can be certain of, their world ranking will go up yet again next week, because this is only their 7th tournament towards that world ranking. They're already
2011 has been an interesting year for Chinese badminton, and in Changqing, the country have a true champion that has now found her perfect foil that seems to be Zhao Yunlei. Both ladies play at such an astronomical pace and are finely tuned in their communication on and off court that they'll prove very hard to beat in the future, as they have in the past. 2010 saw Chen also play with Pan Pan and Tao Jiaming with some success, most notably the Bitburger Open and the China Super Series. But since Zhao Yunlei has entered the fray as her partner, both ladies have really made their mark on this season, with this one-sided affair a true thrashing of the 6-seeded South Koreans Ha Jung-eun Kim, Min Jung, 21-13, 21-16. Their 4th title of the year already after taking top honors in Malaysia, the Double Star Sudirman Cup and the Thailand Open, and in this imperious form, they may just climb the rankings enough to make the end-of-year finals. Don't go anywhere, still to come on this BWF Highlights show. The mixed doubles are up next, where one pairing was simply too hot to handle and went on to make history in Singapore. Stick with us to find out who.
Always envisioned, always dreamt of doing, or
You're back on our BWF Highlights show for 2011, and we're at the mixed doubles camp, which was won in 2010 by the Danish pair of Thomas Leybourne and Camilla Ritter, who weren't on hand this time around to defend their title, as they were shockingly ousted by the Japanese pairing of Sato and Matsuo in the first round. So who would be left standing on final Sunday? Plenty of candidates, of course, with the top-seeded Chinese pair of Zhang Nan and Zhao Yunlei, or the Indonesians of Natsir and Ahmad. Both of those pairs made it through to the semis with no trouble, though Zhang and Zhao did need a rubber set in the first round against Hayakawa and Misuki from Japan. The other semi-final spots were filled by the unseeded British pair of Nathan Robertson and Jenny Warwick, who spectacularly ousted the second-seeded Thai pair of Sudket and Sarali 21-15, 21-14, and the final berth went to Cheng and Chen from Chinese Taipei, who beat the conquerors of the defending champs Sato and Matsuo. The pair to watch in the semis, as always, were Zhang and Zhao, who are looking to continue on their quest for a third title in 2011 after winning the Korean Super Series and the Asian Badminton Championships. But this time, they were up against the formidable Ahmad and Natsir from Indonesia, who incredibly were looking to make it 3 consecutive tournament wins in a row in recent months. And it was that hunger that saw them through in straight games after pushing the first game to a 23-21 win. Awaiting them in the final would be Chinese Taipei's Chen and Cheng.
But Indonesians, as you can see, are involved in the first of today's finals. It's mixed doubles, Tantowi Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir taking on the unseeded combination from Taipei, Yunlei and Chen Wensing. So the unseeded combination of Chen Yunlei and Chen Wensing, far side of the court, getting the first of our finals underway. This the 4th meeting between these two pairs. The previous 3 occasions have all been won by the Indonesians. Good attacking play from Tantowi Ahmad. Close the gap to just 1 point.
8-9.
Oh, it's a great interception. She's so experienced. She's twice world champion, Liliyana Natsir.
10-8.
Won the world title in both 2005 and 2007, of course, Olympic silver medalist as well. And I wonder if her experience will really make the difference today. Oh, that's superb. Good vision. Disadvantage when you can't serve well in doubles. Error on the flick serve there. Well, I don't think it's helping the Taipei pair, the fact that Chen Wensing doesn't appear to be able to serve low, and her partner Chen Yunlei is beginning to flick serve as well, so opponents getting very used to the fact that they're just going to move back in court to receive the flick serve. Very good crowd in here this afternoon. And now the number 4 seeds just 2 points away from this opening game. Now just the one. Oh, what a return. Well, they've been far more aggressive throughout. 9 smash winners as opposed to just 4 from their opponents, and control at the front of the court as well. That's a good rally. And Chen Wensing, because she was so determined to defend on the forehand stance, she got pushed further and further out of court. World #1 in the women's doubles, of course, Chen Wen-Sing with Jian Yu-Jin. Incredible defense from Liliyana. Good rally. Clever. Well, they've narrowed the gap to just 1 point. Oh, that was going out. Oh, it's a good rally. Ready to pounce. Solid defensive play. 3 times previously. This is her 5th final. He's missed it. It's all level. Oh, that could prove costly. And she knows it. It's a nervous-looking shot. Oh, she cannot serve to save her life. That's just awful. Would you believe it? Defense pays off. 5th match point for Ahmad and Natsir. And this time they convert their 3rd consecutive title in tournaments played. It's their 2nd Super Series title to add to the India Super Series. They followed that up a week later by winning the Malaysian Grand Prix gold. And here in Singapore, they've won the Singapore Super Series on their 5th match point. For Liliyana Natsir, it's her 4th Singapore Open title, having won 3 times previously with former partner Nova Widianto. Well, this pair really are now a force to be reckoned with in world terms. They won the title with this man, though, Tantowi Ahmad. Their 2nd Super Series title in 2 Super Series events played. The last Super Series prior to this in India, they won the title there. They've repeated that feat here again in Singapore.
They've been together for less than a year, and in the early days it was hard going for Indonesia's Tantowi Ahmad, Liliyana Natsir. However, the mixed doubles pairing have certainly found their groove as they cantered to their third consecutive Open title and second BWF World Superseries crown when they won the Singapore Open Super Series on final Sunday. Former world champion Liliyana, who took the month off last month after injuring her elbow, has been the guiding light in the partnership as she helped the less experienced Tantowi get used to living in the limelight. They cruised to back-to-back titles by winning the India Open Super Series and followed that up by winning the Malaysia Open Grand Prix Gold a week later. However, many still doubted their capabilities as many top pairs gave those two tournaments a miss. But they made their critics sit up and take notice when they stunned world number ones Zhang Nan and Zhao Yunlei of China 23-21, 21-16 in Saturday's semi-finals. And on final Sunday, they outplayed Taipei's Chen and Cheng Wen 21-14, 27-25 to prove that they'll be a force to be reckoned with at the 2012 Olympics. On the way, in the first 4 Super Series events, just one women's singles title was taken by a non-Chinese player. Would the three Wangs set the pace in Singapore as well? Find out in just a bit. You're back on our BWF Highlight Show, and it's time to check in with the women's singles tournament, where the question on everyone's lips was which of China's top 3 women, Wang Xin, Wang Yihan and Wang Xin, could help themselves to the title. Wang Xin won the Malaysia Open Super Series and the All England, while Wang Yihan took home the Korean Open Super Series. That meant Thailand's Porntip Burana Prasertsuk was the only female other singles player to win a Super Series crown this season when she won at the Indian Open. As it turned out for the rest of the draw, all 3 Wangs ominously made the quarterfinals with some ease, along with the refreshing European showing from Germany's Julianne Schenk, a storming 6-seeded Tina Born from Denmark, and Yao Zhe of the Netherlands. Yao Zhe would also provide the shock of the draw when she then beat Wang Yihan in 3, 17-21, 21-15, 21-16 to book a semi spot. Wang Xin and Xixian took 2 of the rest, and the last spot went to Tina Born, who was not expected to last very long against the biggest sensation in women's badminton of recent times, Wang Xixian. But not only did she hold her own, she had the crowds at the Singapore Indoor Stadium on their feet as she took the game to the world number 1 and never let go of it. Xixian tried her best from the first game but couldn't wrest her usual advantage as the Danish player made sure her court coverage was spot on, meaning very soon she had the first game 21-15. Using the draft well, she then played a mirror of the first game to take the second 21-16, meaning she would face Wang Xin in the final.
Low wall, please.
Tina Baum, the former champion nearest to us from Denmark, getting this women's singles final underway. The number 6 seed from Denmark against the number 3 seed from China. And this is the 7th meeting between these two players, and rather ominous as far as Danish fans are concerned is the fact that Tina Baum has yet to beat her opponent of today. All 6 previous matches going to Wang Xin. Oh, good net shot. Having worked the rally, then seemed to run out of patience. Tina Baum has a couple of point advantage. Oh, that was a real opportunity. Once again, it's all level.
17.
Oh, that's gone well wide. And now the left-hander back into the lead. Compose the thoughts, calm herself down. Missed it. 4 straight points. Oh, it's a super rally. (18-19). Physical efforts. Well, as I was saying earlier, Wang Xin absolutely superb from that round the head position. There's the first. Second, and makes her way forward to the net. Oh, she's found the line. Absolutely brilliant. What courage, what precision, and what an opening game. That's a good net shot. Force the error. Really struggling with that foot injury. So the Dane, who's going to turn 32 next month, should at least be very happy that she's getting back to the sort of form that took her to world #1 and to 2 All-England titles. It was a tall order to come back in this. 7 points adrift here in the second game, and lost the first, and that's a perfect smash from Wang Xin. Are reversed. That's a good shot, smash, clever. Aim towards the right hip of Tina Baum. 2 points away from her second title of the year now. Wang Xin. Miss it off the frame of the racket, and it is 7 match points. It's one of the very few occasions that Wang Xin has been made to take the shuttle very late in that deep backhand corner. Most of the time she's moved so quickly she's got round to be able to play it with the normal overhead action. But it's still match points. Defiant till the end, Tina Baum. And this time she converts. 21-19, 21-17. 37 minutes of play. And Wang Xin in her first ever Singapore Open, takes the title. But here is the champion, 25-year-old Wang Xin of China, the number 3 seed. Her 6th career title, her 3rd Super Series, to add to the Super Series events in Malaysia and the China Masters last year. Her 2nd title of the year, in fact her 2nd title in 2 tournaments, having won the Malaysian Grand Prix Gold. Now,
Will be presented by Mr. Li.
So heartbreak for Tina Bourne, whom had made official statements prior to this tournament saying how she'd hoped that herself and India's Saina Nehwal could be the ones to break the grip of the 3 Wangs on the women's game. To her credit, she managed to take one of them out, but now understands exactly how tough beating all 3 would actually be. The world number 2, meanwhile, has now won back-to-back Open tournaments after ending her losing streak at the Malaysia Open Grand Prix Gold. Wang Xin, who has now won all 7 encounters with Europe's top player. The win also goes some way towards making up for her disappointing performance in last month's double-star BWF Sudirman Cup World Mixed Team Championships, where she was beaten in straight games by India's Saina Nehwal. Perhaps more significantly, it also shows that Wang Xin is getting back to her best after failing to reach the finals in the first 4 BWF World Super Series tournaments this year. Just around the corner on our BWF Highlights show, Lee Chongwei's absence meant a chance for Lin Dan to take the number 1 spot, but could the Chinese star seize the opportunity? Find out in just a bit. This is the BWF Highlights show for 2011 at the Singapore Super Series from the Singapore Indoor Stadium, where the final order of business was the men's singles, which this time would definitely not see a 19th title for Lee Chongwei, who was preparing for the BWF Championships in London. So a chance for Lin Dan to reclaim the number 1 spot if he could make it to final Sunday, which at one point looked difficult as he needed a rubber set in the quarterfinals against Indonesia's Simon Santoso, which gave him a semi-final berth against Denmark's Peter Gade, who made the last 4 with convincing straight games wins against Du Pengyu and Britain's Rajiv Usef. The other 2 spots in the semi-finals were taken up by Chinese players Wang Zhengming and Chen Jin, who found no troubles in dispatching Axelsen and Li respectively in the quarters. Gade versus Dan was, as usual, spectacular. The Danish superstar came back from a 2016 deficit in the opening game to win 22-20, but Lin Dan roared back to take the next 2 games, 21-17, 21-15. Lin Dan, who had never won this tournament, looked on course to write that stat when he had 4 game points in the opening game. Gade, however, refused to lie down and showed great fighting spirit to reel off 6 points in a row to take his first game. The Olympic and Asian Games gold medalist then upped his game to book his place in Sunday's final, where he would face Chen Jin.
We heard this morning that Lin Dan has not been feeling well and therefore has withdrawn from the men's singles final. Of course, Lin Dan, the reigning Olympic champion, 3 times former world champion. He was due to play against the current world champion, Chen Jin, his teammate from China.
Lin Dan just wants to say sorry because he's unable to compete due to sickness. But what they will be doing, what Lin Dan and Chen Jin will be doing for you, is they will be doing a special something. They will actually be going around giving you a special autographed souvenir, and this is their way of apologizing to you. So I know you guys are feeling we hope you understand that Lin Dan, he is unable to compete because of sickness.
Fans who have looked forward to this, paid good money to come
and
here.
And Chen Jin will be the winner for the men's singles. And right now, Lin Dan and Chen Jin, they'll be going around giving away a special token, an autograph cleaning pouch, as a show of an apology and thanks to the fans.
And there was a lot of talk about how badminton players need to promote the sport and themselves just as much as their performance on court.
He may have had his controversial moments in the past, and I'm sure a few would raise some eyebrows at missing a final after such a great run and with the world #1 ranking at stake. But the doctor was on hand to diagnose Lin Dan as having gastroenteritis, which was most probably a result of too much cold water after his massive match against Peter Gade in the semis. It wasn't what the fans wanted to see, but in such an important year, with the Olympics just around the corner, the focus for Super Dan was to keep his body in the best shape possible, which can be understood by all. Lin Dan's misfortune was a boon for Chen, who has struggled to perform since replacing his teammate as world champion last August. Chen had fallen to number 9 in the world and had failed to make it past the second round of 3 BWF World Superseries tournaments in Malaysia, South Korea, and England. A number of first-time winners stepped onto the top spot of the podium in Singapore. Chen was one of them, scooping the men's singles title by default. Wang Xin was the least likely of the 3 Wangs to pick up the women's singles title, which should open the door for even hotter competition between the 3 ladies in the Super Series to follow. China also dominated in the men's and women's doubles as Cai Yun and Haifeng won their 9th title in the men's, as Chen and Zhao Yunlei took the women's. The only non-Chinese winners were Indonesia's Tantowi Ahmad and Liliyana Natsir, who took home their 3rd consecutive Open title this year. So as the prize checks get distributed and the points get allocated, the Singapore Super Series closes its curtains for another year. That means the calendar now reads 5 events down from the 12 schedule for 2011, and for the fans there is simply no rest, as up next is Indonesia, which will be followed by China and Japan before the circuit heads back to delight its European fans with the French and Danish Super Series. Hong Kong and a return to China will end the regular season before the world's undisputed best take each other on in those Super Series Masters finals at a yet-to-be-determined venue, all fighting for ultimate glory after a year of battle that took them round the world. That's it from us, but remember to catch all the action that's on the way on your BWF Highlights Show 2011. For now, goodbye.